Hello, everyone. Today, we begin a fascinating chapter called A Story of Numbers. Have you ever wondered how people counted things thousands of years ago? Before we had calculators, before notebooks, and even before the digits 0 to 9 even existed. Long ago, early humans still needed numbers to count their animals, trade goods, and measure time. Today, let's travel back through history together to explore the fascinating story of how numbers began. You see, early humans needed numbers for their survival. They had to count their animals in their herd to make sure none were lost, track the food they collected, and even count the days between seasons to know when to plant crops. But remember, they didn't have the digits we use today, so they had to invent some incredibly clever ways to keep track of everything. One of the simplest ideas they had was matching objects one by one. Some cultures even used specific sounds or letters to represent numbers. For example, for every sheep going out to graze, a shepherd would place one stone in a pile. When the herd came back, he matched them again. If the stones matched the sheep, he knew none were missing. In math, we call this brilliant idea one-to-one mapping. Another way was using tally marks, where each object is shown by a small line or notch. Archaeologists have actually found ancient bones, like the Lubombo bone in Africa, covered in these marks. That bone is estimated to be over 44,000 years old. Just think about that. People were doing math 44,000 years ago. Now, tally marks get very messy for big numbers. Did you know that humans can usually only recognize about 4 objects instantly at a glance? This is why we started grouping numbers into 5s or 10s. The Romans, for example, used symbols like I for 1, V for 5, X for 10, L for 50, and many others. Try writing the number 79 using Roman numerals. It's a bit like a puzzle, isn't it? The ancient Egyptians had a different approach. They used symbols like a heel bone for 10 and a coil of rope for 100. They grouped numbers using powers of 10, which is very similar to our base 10 idea today. However, their system required many repeated symbols for very large numbers, which could become quite complicated to write. But did you know that base 10 isn't the only way? It just depends on how you group things. For example, if we used a base 5 system, our landmark numbers would be 1, 5, 25, 125, and so on. Every number system has its own unique rhythm and logic. The biggest breakthrough in history was the place value system. This means the position of a symbol tells you its value. The Mesopotamians developed a base 60 system, which we still use today to measure minutes and seconds. Later on, people used tools like the abacus to help perform complex calculations more easily. Isn't that amazing? Around the world, other systems appeared too. The Mayans used base 20 and a seashell for 0. In China, they used bamboo rods for a base 10 system. They used blank spaces for missing values, but as you can imagine, those blank spaces often caused a lot of confusion before 0 was fully adopted. This brings us to the system we use today, developed right here in ancient India. The Hindu number system uses just 10 symbols, 0 to 9. Because it uses place value, we can write any number in the universe, no matter how extremely large it is, using just these 10 basic digits. It's incredibly efficient and elegant. But a place value system needs a true 0. Indian mathematicians like Aryabhata and Brahmagupta didn't just use 0 as a blank space. They treated it as a real number you can add or multiply. This one idea changed science and math forever. It's like the secret ingredient that makes all modern math work.